Like that book you asked me to buy for you, The Catcher in the Rye. Is that a good book? Do you like it?
Oh, yes, it's a beautiful book. I've read it 3 times.
Could I understand it? Could I talk to your friends about it?
Oh, of course you could.
I'll read it.
So, I was hoping that I would be further along in The Catcher of the Rye by today, by this morning. I only got 1 chapter in. I was sitting on the couch reading it, and Kevin goes, "Do you want to watch a movie?" I go, "What do you have in mind?" And he goes, "Maybe I'd like to see The Babadook." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Now you want to watch The Babadook?" The Babadook is the unofficial, official mascot of my channel. The Babadook is what changed the trajectory of the channel to what it is now. It reinvigorated my love for film. Now you want to watch it? So I give him a warning. I go, "Okay, be careful. You have to like The Babadook." But, we've been on a bit of like a horror film, kick lately. So maybe that's why it's on his mind. That's what started my kick, but now that's why he wants to watch it. Anyway, the movie's over, and I go, "Okay, Kevin, be careful. What do you think of the movie?" And he said it was fine. Kevin said The Babadook was fine. He said he couldn't really take it seriously because of the Australian accents, and that just automatically makes it funny to him. I didn't know that it was going to be Australian, so of course I freaking loved it. Anyway, I'm only a chapter in, and I remember reading this in school, and it being one of the only books that I liked in school. I was wondering how I was gonna feel. And again, I love Holden. Kevin said that he did not like Holden. He did not like The Catcher in the Rye when he read it in school. If Kevin's the golden retriever boyfriend. I'm the black cat girlfriend. Yeah, I'm reading it and I'm like chuckling at him. I love him. I feel bad for him. And I've been doing the whole collector thing, and Miranda sees Holden as, she feels for him. And Freddie thinks that he has nothing to complain about. Why would a kid who has everything have anything to complain about? Miranda thinks it's a lovely book. Freddie hated it. Speaking of, when I got ready today, after watching The Collector, I have a bunch of stuff recommended to me on YouTube, because that's where I watched it, and I saw this like retrospective on the movie, the making of, and with interviews from Samantha Eggar and Terence Stamp, and there was some extra interesting tidbits to add on to my deep dive that I did in the last video. It starts off and Samantha Eggar says that it was inspired by true events.
It was also a true story.
That John Fowles was inspired by a true story from the 1950s, that a man abducted a girl and kept her in an air raid shelter. He was a guy who worked as a clerk at the bank, and he won money in the pools, and he bought himself a motorcycle. And he had a crush on a girl. The girl's mother said, "Hey, he's a nice boy. You should go out with him." She goes on the back of his motorcycle, and she's never seen.
And she was found in the ground in a 4x4 hole in the ground, and she'd been there for 4 to 6 months. She was so badly damaged that she was in a mental institute for about 2 or 3 years. I never spoke to her, and I didn't want to speak to her. And the young man only got about 2 years in jail, which is absolutely atrocious. But it's my understanding that certainly John has to have taken some of that to have come up with the story of The Collector.
and something that I don't know if it was intentional, but she was dressed like the character for her interview. And I kept noticing her hands in the movie. I thought she's got beautiful hands. She just is beautiful. I was watching her like she was wearing the pinky rings that she had on in the movie. And I don't know if it's like those are her personal items. Like if I was in a movie, would I be able to wear all my jewelry? I don't know. Something that I always notice in older films is hands. They always have like natural nails grown out, and sometimes they'll have a nail that's broken, and they just like they leave it in. Also, I was on Terence Stamp's Wikipedia page. I wanted to learn about his books. He has like 5 memoirs. And I'm like, I really don't want to read 5 of them. But I heard that the newest one is not that good. And when I was on his Wikipedia page, I read a little thing. The Smiths used a photo of Terence Stamp from The Collector for their single for What Difference Does It Make? That they used a picture of Terence Stamp for the single cover. And he originally did not give them permission. And Morrissey did a recreation of the photo. In the original with Terence Stamp, he's holding up the chloroform pad, and Morrissey did a recreation of it, holding up a glass of milk instead. And seeing the two side by side is interesting. It's a really good recreation. But then eventually he decided that he was going to give permission to the Smiths to use the photo. Listen to some Smiths. Yeah, the more I think about the movie, the more I love it. And I think it's better than the book. I'm gonna say it. Movie's better than the book. Also, that back in those days, they were not supposed to depict murder in movies. And the guy who was supposed to sign off on it.
John Trevelyan was the censor. Mr. Trevelyan had just got married, and he was about 67 at the time, and he'd married a 30-year-old. In fact, they had twins, and so he's watching The Collector, and it's a long film, you know, and he's and he nods off, and the end of the film comes, so he never sees the end. And so, he wakes up, and oh yeah, John Trevelyan, yes, and he signs it.
Anyway, I'm trying not to. I hope it's okay that I keep talking about stuff, like continuing to talk about it. Like I don't know if it would be better if I did all the research and then put everything all in one video. But I'm trying not to think about it too much. Try not to overthink it. Have it be like class, you know? You study a book in class for weeks, you know? That's what it is. It's class. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with a name for it. I wanted to use something like multimedia class, and it's ongoing. I got my weekly report for my average daily phone use today. 2.5 hours. It's like the best I've ever had. So, you may or may not know. Last year, my mom gave me her whole CD collection after I told her that I set up my old player. So I picked out some stuff to shake up my collection here a bit, and this caught my eye. Just this CD in this sleeve. No booklet or anything. It has a bunch of copyright years on it, so I figured it was going to be a best of CD. The exhilaration, the ecstasy that came over my body, Enya's greatest hits. Zen Summer is back on, you guys. Zen Summer is back on. I was worried it was going to be Peter Gabriel. Every other CD in the collection is Peter Gabriel. She somehow has more Peter Gabriel albums than were released. And every time I look, there are more in there too. Okay, I'll show you the nail order that I finished. I showed you this one last video. Okay, this one, Sunkissed. This one is Seaweed. Well, Seaweed Medley, dear. And this one is Sea Glass. Except I think this may be the final order I can do with this polish. I'm all out of it. Officially out. Okay. I'm on chapter 8 of The Catcher in the Rye. He is about to leave school and stay in the city. That's his plan. I really don't remember that much. And I started to think, like, I really don't remember the ending. I really don't remember it. I just remember liking it, and I remember the whole John Lennon thing and South Park. So I'm gonna keep going with this. I still like it. As a 32-year-old lady, I still like it. I still haven't done any more of my drawing. I hate doing it because I don't think it counts as reading. But I may listen to an audiobook. I may listen to the Catcher in the Rye audiobook and do my drawing. Because I want to do a second version of this. I want to do using Samantha Eggar from the film as reference because she's so pretty. You know what's weird? I swear in the book she has really blonde hair. So that's why I picked this color. But in the movie she has red hair. But then I saw something else online that said that she had pale red hair in the book. But there's a book cover that has blonde. Getting very Chris Chan about Sonic's arms about this hair color, but the thing that I thought was interesting was that in the movie she like wears these colors. I was like, this like greenish color, and her hair is like this color. And because I'm entering my blue phase, I wanted to do a blue one, but I wanted to give her the red hair. I'm picturing almost looking like Mystique, you know? Do you think that listening to an audiobook counts as reading? Sound off in the comments below. I need some engagement, you guys. 18 views on my last video. 18. Really blowing my load into the ether. God. Now, I did not find any The Smiths in my mom's CD collection, but I did find World of Morrissey. What is the name of the second song on The World of Morrissey? Billy Budd. What is the name of the movie Terence Stamp did right before he did The Collector? Billy Budd. Now, my mom is on the Terence Stamp deep dive. She also loved The Collector, and she tells me about Far From the Maddening Crowd. And now I'm looking through Terence Stamp's body of work, and I see he has a credit in the BBC Francis Bacon documentary, A Brush with Violence, which I just watched a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was like the best documentary I've ever seen. If you've never watched it, so much juicy gossip. For some reason, everyone on Letterboxd thinks it was dry and boring. I wish I could erase my brain so I can watch it again for the first time. So it made me pick up, I have Francis Bacon, Anatomy of an Enigma. That's what made me pick it up. I thought it was so good. Anyway, Terence Stamp is in the documentary, and I have a brain blast to the moment that he's in it.
But Lionel Bart told me that in his kitchen there were loads of photographs, and he'd noticed there were rather a lot of me, you know. And Lionel said to him, "Oh, you think, you know, you like Terence?" And Francis said, "God, the two most handsomest men in the world are Terence Stamp and Colonel Gaddafi."
At the time, I was like, who is this guy? Now, the Smiths used Terence Stamp for the album cover of What Difference Does It Make? And if you go on genius.com, what they say the song is about is a gay man confiding in a friend and the friend not taking it so well. Did Morrissey also think Terence Stamp was the most beautiful man alive? Maybe. Terence Stamp himself, I think, thought he was the most beautiful man alive. So. Terence Stamp also had beef with Michael Caine. I'm finding out. I'll have to look into that. Okay, it is a little bit late. It's a little bit late for me to be starting a new segment, but Maybe I'll surprise myself. If you watch my last video, I was talking about how if it's too late in the day, I can't be on. But also, if you saw the last video, I give a little bit of lore on this piece, but I thought I'd show you with the better camera quality. A little bit of this, and I'll show you. Here's the finished piece with better camera quality. I mean, she looks good on camera. She'll look nice back there. Now let me show you what I've been working on for the next piece. Now, I was saying I wanted to use a picture of Samantha Eggar, but it's hard to find a picture of her. So, if I'm being honest, I found a photo of Jean Harlow that I wanted to use for reference. And I found this big green, it's charcoal paper. Canson brand charcoal paper, but I feel like I want to finally use it. And I think I'm going to do colored pencil. So I have it drawn up on tracing paper. Can you say it? Is that hand good? Be honest. It took me forever. The brain power to do that. I hate drawing hands. Yeah, and then what I think I want to do, I'm going to put, I don't know, I almost want it to look like a comic book page or something. And I have a frame. You can see the frame that I put around her. I want to put a couple, like, I think I want to do moths. I'm a bigger fan of moths than butterflies. But put some coming out of the frame. And then I want to do like a big moth down here. I think it'll be cool. There's a lot of real estate on this paper. I usually tear the cotton paper that I use, but this isn't cotton paper. So, okay. So, let's end this video. I want to spend the next couple days eating sandwiches and chips and reading on the beach. So, let's get this done. Even though it's too late in the day for me to be on. Okay. Final thoughts on The Catcher in the Rye. Now, I'm afraid to admit it, but I love The Catcher in the Rye. I love this book. Unfortunately, it has gained this reputation as being for incels or literary bros, but I feel like that's kind of missing the point. It's so much more than that. And it's funny reading it years later after high school and still feeling like, you know, I think at the time I got a different, it had a different meaning to me. That yeah, I get it. Yeah, bro, everything does suck. Everybody is a phony. That's how I felt back then. But now to me the book is about grief. There's all this stuff about how trying to preserve your innocence or like really wanting human connection more than anything. But I think at the core of the novel is this boy and his family who have unresolved grief from the loss of a loved one. Holden's brother Allie, his younger brother Allie, died of leukemia. And I think that's at the core. Holden goes to boarding school where he's away from his family. He's away from his parents and his younger sister, and his brother is in Hollywood where he works as a writer, and he's away from anybody who could possibly understand his feelings, understand his grief, who would know better than his family. And everyone is on his case to tell him, you know, you're not applying yourself, you're not doing good in school, you have to apply yourself. What seems important when you lose a sibling? Does writing a report on the Egyptians feel important to you? Probably not. We see the only subject that Holden does well in school in is English. And his older brother's a writer, and Allie loved writing. He has that baseball mitt. Holden's younger brother wrote poems on his baseball mitt so that he can read it in the outfield while he was bored. There was no action during the game. He can read his mitt. And we see the only time Holden applies himself in school when his roommate asks him to do his homework for him, and he's about to go on a date with the girl that Holden is in love with. Holden's allowed to feel some way about it. He is. And Holden ignores his friend's instructions. He said that it has to be written about a room or something, and he writes it about Allie's baseball mitt, and he's very passionate about it. And his roommate comes home and says, "What the hell is this? This isn't what I asked you to do." And that's when he has his couple days of misfortune in the city. So sure, Holden is a little bit of a snot. He is. But for the most part, I think he's a nice boy. And really, I think he maybe could have used somebody to listen to him. If Holden had somebody to tell him that it was going to be okay, I think it would have gone a long way for him. And with the connection to the collector, that's the whole reason why I'm reading this in the first place. So I talked about that retrospective on the collector that I watched, and in it they ask one of the screenwriters how he felt about the collector being credited as an inspiration for people who committed some really terrible crimes. Both the book, The Collector, and the movie. And we all know The Catcher in the Rye also inspired some people to do some terrible things. And he says something really interesting.
I don't think that The Collector made hordes of unfortunates run out and do what they weren't about to do anyway. I mean, if films had had the influence on people they ought to have had, we'd have had a most charming race of people, wouldn't we? All Cary Grants, all able to speak delicious dialogue.
Now, I think there are definitely kids who were inspired to be, Cary Grants when they, watched a movie for the first time and they thought, that's who I want to be when I grow up. I read books and I'm inspired to make artwork inspired by it, and I'm inspired to do deep dives. And boys, they watch Mad Men and they're inspired to order old fashions at the bar. Why anyone would be inspired to commit murder based on the book The Catcher in the Rye is beyond me, because to me the book is very anti-death. Holden says it right here. So he meets a couple nuns and they're talking about Romeo and Juliet. And he says, "The thing is, it drives me crazy if somebody gets killed, especially somebody very smart and entertaining and all, and it's somebody else's fault. Romeo and Juliet, at least it was their own fault." Now, perhaps it's up for debate as to whether Holden Caulfield would think John Lennon was very smart and very entertaining, but I love this book. Now, Will I be reading At Home in This World by Joyce Maynard after reading this? Yes. My work is never done. Look it up for next time if you don't know. Yeah, so if you made it to the end of this video, I would like to thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. I hope you would consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. I will see you next time.